Hey up, Sofa Squad, and welcome to another edition of On the Sofa 20. And with me is not Sci Niece, at least not yet, but I've got Critical Cripple Dave with me, so I'm not alone, which is good.
How dare you say I'm not Sci Niece?
And we've actually got 3 people watching, so welcome.
Who's the other one?
Who knows?
It's spooky. I'll put money on it.
Yes, yeah, I'll take that bet. Yeah,
it's not. It's Will.
Oh, it's Will. Oh, hello, Will. Yes, Will is in the side chat. Hello.
Oh, all right. Go on.
Anyway, so we're going to start. I promised Sci Niece that we'll wait for her before we do all the Jennifer Arcuri stuff. So we're going to start off with. I think we'll start off with my new section that I've called Labour Woes. I've got a jingle for it. Are you ready?
Go on.
There's the jingle.
He needs laser vision.
And so, yes, Keir Starmer's leadership is seriously on the ropes. This is an article from The Canary.
It seems like an odd. I find it very weird that one side says that it's on the ropes, and that the Tories are genuinely worried about a bounce back at the local elections.
Yeah, but they're seriously behind the polls apparently. And hello to Spooky. Spooky's here in the side chat, which is good. But the article says this: Keir Starmer's leadership of the Labour Party appears to be seriously faltering because there's dissent in his own ranks. He's already reported to be thinking of a shadow cabinet shake-up, and the disquiet at the grassroots level is becoming louder and louder. Mutiny incoming? First up, The Observer ran a piece on Starmer's leadership on Sunday, the 28th of March. It reported on several anonymous Labour MPs who were unhappy with the situation. People do underestimate the mountain of shit Keir inherited. It is a monumental task, but there is a complaint of a lack of grip. So what do we think of this story? What's happening?
I don't know is the problem. Who do they want? I mean, the problem is who is a viable alternative to him? They don't want someone as far left as Corbyn, apparently.
No.
And he's not as far right as Blair. What exactly do they want from a Labour Party?
Well, the way I see it is that Keir Starmer, he's got no vision.
No.
There's no. Can you name a policy of Keir Starmer's that you're excited about?
No.
No. Neither can I. Neither can anyone. It's been a year, and there's nothing. There's nothing really. There's no vision, and I think he's failed to win people over, because it's got nothing to win people over to.
Yeah, there is no. This should, by this point, and the policy of 10 years of the Tories, Uh, the problem is the only policies he can have are much further left.
Yeah. Spooky is saying they want a Tory in the Labour Party like Blair was.
At the end of the day, Blair was a leader. He had vision. That's the worst thing is, I'm not convinced if Blair didn't come back tomorrow that he wouldn't poll better. Even for the ones that don't like, even for the fact that there's like hatred towards him, I think the actual people that support him will probably significantly outnumber them.
Yeah. And but people again, the article goes on. Shadow cabinet ministers are understood to be among those who have concerns that Starmer is losing crucial momentum. No pun intended, I'm sure. At the end of his first year in office, with several MPs calling for more experience to injected into his team to spell out what care is for. But the solution, it seems, is a joke. The Observer said that these MPs want Starmer to bring in a big figure to provide greater direction to his leadership. Given that Starmer's brand of centrism hasn't so far paid off in the polls, if this big figure has a new Labour-like character, it'll probably make matters worse. So what's the leader of the Labour Party solution? Sack the UK's first ever woman shadow chancellor.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, Godless Sewing says, Enoch Powell would be so proud of how everything worked out. Oh, and we've got Sci Niece.
Told you I'd be in a minute. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, we have a person with us. What's up? We finally have a person with us.
Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah, I'm glad. Well, we're just going over. We're just. I thought I'd start with Labour woes. And,
okay.
We're just talking about how Keir Starmer is faltering. He's struggling to have a discernible vision. He's falling. Labour falling behind the polls.
Oh, wonderful.
Even fellow MPs are unhappy, and
Oh, lovely.
people are leaving.
Oh man. But are we shocked though? I mean, so far Keir Starmer is proving to be nothing but a fuck up.
The wet fish.
Yes, yes, he is. He certainly he's messing up. He's messing up badly. I mean, you'd think with what is it? Over 100,000 deaths. Because of how badly the Tories have handled the pandemic. And all the scandal.
Have a million.
Sorry.
But yeah, that's nobody. They're not handling the pandemic well there. I think France is about to enter what? It's like 4th lockdown.
Yes. I heard that early today. Yeah.
The problem is they've had no alternative policies.
Have room.
Yelling at me.
That's why you don't use your phone when you're driving.
Shut up. Nobody asked you.
I don't care if anybody asked me. She's
Huh?
videoing with you guys while driving.
Well, yeah, because I didn't want him any later than I already was. Anyway.
Oh well. Just stay safe. We don't want.
I'm perfectly safe. I'm perfectly safe. I'm watching the road because I don't have my camera on or anything, so it don't matter.
Okay. And we've got African Humanist in the chat. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
And so, anyway, moving on to the next Labour woe story. This is quite interesting. Well, fairly interesting. Tell me what you guys think of this. Yeah, Labour frontbencher Alex Sobel apologises to Keir Starmer after describing business as the enemy.
Why would anybody apologize for
There it
that?
is.
At the end of the day, corporations are becoming the enemy all over the world.
The problem is that Labour have a reputation for being anti-business. From PR perspective, it's not good. He's not wrong, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
maybe I'm biased because I'm totally anti. I'm not anti-business as like a whole, but for God's sake, corporations need to pay tax.
I'm starting to think that businesses might be better if they have an upper limit on size. And
I mean,
and
yeah, that
basically
would
it's
honestly,
automatic.
because I think like I don't know if this is all over the world, but I know in the U.S., for example, take the media. I believe 6 companies own all of the media outlets.
Yeah.
Oh no,
And-
Josh just told me 4 companies apparently.
It was 3 until 2 years ago.
4 companies own all the media outlets. There definitely needs to be like some sort of limits in place to prevent those kinds of monopolies.
Funny story. Those 4 corporations are owned by 2 people.
Oh, here we go. Anyway,
Hmm.
so
So, yeah, actually, Alex Sobel was until recently my MP, but I've moved into a different into a different area, into a different constituency. That's the word I'm looking for. But he was my MP, and I've actually met him a couple of times. He's a good bloke, actually. I really like him.
memory. What does MP stand for?
Member of Parliament.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't want to like be an idiot and be like, "Oh, is that what it means?" and sound like a dumb blonde or something.
Okay. Oh. But the article goes on. Is it Shadow Tourism Minister Alex Sobel was wrong in his comments, according to the Labour leader, who added under him the party was very clearly pro-business. And that's the thing. Keir Starmer is anxious to move away from, to completely distance himself from how Labour were under Corbyn, and to make himself and to make the party pro-business again. And so, for Alex Sobel to say,
So basically, he's trying to move it more towards the center.
yeah, exactly. He's trying to make the Labour out to be pro-business.
There's
And,
a lot
so-
of accusations like that towards Democratic Party leaders.
Like what exactly?
That because there's a lot of progressives starting to take office as Democrats, but that there's Joe Biden's trying to move the party towards the center, and Hillary Clinton was also centrist. It's fine to be more centrist, but at least stay a little left of center.
Yes. Well, yes, exactly.
Because
So,
if you've got the center and the right, it's really not much of a, it's not much of a bipartisanship.
yeah.
You don't have a left at all already.
No. This is the thing, because of how far right, politics has moved, in recent years. We tend to think that central, policies are on the left now, but really they're not. Not at all. But speaking on a podcast with environmental activist Simon Moore, Mr. Sobel said of his relationship with business, when I first became an MP, I was like, I'm not taking a meeting with any of these people. These people are the enemy, you know. I'm a socialist. My job is to effectively transform society so that we have a much more mixed economy, and we don't have huge global corporations which have all this power. In comments first reported by the Sun newspaper, Mr. Sobel added, now I take the meetings because I'm like, this is still my dream, but we haven't got enough time to do that and save the climate. And
So he's using a climate excuse, the climate as an excuse to abandon the core policies, even though the businesses are the problem.
yeah, yes, effectively, yeah. That's pretty much what he's saying, what he seems to be saying. He goes on, so we need to get them to make the transformation now, and then also to do the political action and everything else at the same time alongside it. Asked about Mr. Sobel's comments on a campaign visit to Hartlepool ahead of May's by-election, Sir Keir said, under my leadership, I've been very, very clear that the Labour Party is pro-business. We're more than pro-business. We want a partnership with business. He added, Alex Sobel knows what he said was wrong. He has apologised. He's apologised to me. The Labour Party, under my leadership, is very clearly pro-business.
I think they're going to have to. Go on.
But what was what Alex Sobel said actually wrong, though?
I think the problem is that we're in this situation now where enough of the middle class is in business that by saying you are anti-business or that business is the enemy, people don't distinguish between the scale of the business that is going on. We are a country of small businesses.
Yeah.
By coming out and saying, sorry, go on.
No, like I definitely think saying business is the enemy was too sweeping a way to put it. You know, there should have been more. You know, he should have specified, like, business itself is not the enemy. I know plenty of small businesses on this side of the pond that, you know, they're great for the economy. It keeps the economy going. I prefer to patronize smaller businesses because I know the money I'm spending is going to feed a family, not into an offshore bank account. The real enemy isn't business itself. It's the corporate oligarchy that's slowly forming all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hello Sergeant Mel. Hi.
Hi.
Where have you been hiding?
I have been up to my eyeballs in all the things.
All the things.
All the
Relatable.
things. So yeah, I had to overload this semester for where I teach, which means I have an extra class. So I've had 4 classes, pandemic.
Okay. Oh,
There's a conspiracy on a break-in net connection.
I think she's frozen. So I think we're going to move. We'll move on from Labour woes to Tory twats.
What are you going to pick from?
So Tory twats, and we're going to start off with the big story.
Mel's frozen expression just is perfect for this segment.
We're going to start off with the big story that everyone's talking about, because it's just going to get bigger.
Ooh, is this the tea? Is this the tea I've been waiting to drop?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So Jennifer Arcuri admits to 4-year affair with serial love cheat Boris Johnson. Jennifer Arcuri reveals all about her sexual affair with Prime Minister Boris Johnson, including sexy pics and trade trips, as the Prime Minister faces a probe over his conduct.
Just wait. Is this since he's been Prime Minister?
No. What this is, if you remember, this story first broke a couple of years ago when there were questions, asked about, his friendship with Jennifer Arcuri, because
it wasn't a friendship now, was it?
no,
Well, they were friends.
Friendship with benefits.
And because they were, he was paying her company, hundreds of pounds, and there was a conflict of interest. There's a possible conflict of interest, and at the time, she denied they had an affair. They were just friends. But now, she's saying yes, we were lovers, and we were having an affair. So now the story's come to the surface again.
So the real question then is, what did he do to piss her off enough that she admitted it?
I think she just make money now. The worst thing is, I don't even think this is going to. This is not the Tory party of the 80s. They just go, "Oh yes, that happened," and carry on.
Yes.
Sweet. That's how it is on the right side of the fence in everybody's fucking political atmosphere now. Because, they can't afford to hold anyone accountable, because if they held anyone accountable for any of their bullshit, there'd be nobody left in the party.
But there would. I mean, in the 80s, we went through politicians like nobody's business. They'd get caught shagging a boy, they'd resign, and then we'd move on. Have we had any actual resignations in the last 10 years for doing something wrong?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, but the thing is, he was also having an affair with Jennifer Arcuri. He was also having an affair with his now fiancée, Carrie Simmons. He was cheating with both, on his then wife, was it? While she was suffering, recovering from cancer treatment, I think it was.
Jesus fucking Christ! I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently. But he was cheating on his wife with them both.
Well, I just need to know. I look at him, and I have to wonder, how drunk do you have to be to sleep with him?
I think I'm going to sound really stupid. The only thing I can come across with, based on what I have heard about him, is he apparently comes across as unbelievably confident, that he has the gift of the gab.
Like he does.
And
if I was that ugly, I would live under a rock.
but it's
not on the sofa until I start roasting people.
Exactly. But the thing is, he, as far as he's concerned, he was born to rule.
Yeah.
And that's got to give you a lot, bags of confidence.
They have a term for that in the DSM. Delusions of grandeur, narcissistic personality disorder, grandiose.
Keep going. These all describe him.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, I've only just started learning about this guy in detail since I started co-hosting this goddamn show. And I already am looking at it, it's like, well, I'll give him this though. People call Boris Johnson the British version of Trump. And the narcissism aspect though, Trump was a malignant narcissist. I'm pretty sure, unless there's some sadism I don't know about that y'all want to fill me in on, at least At least Johnson's only a garden variety narcissist thus far. Because the defining factor between regular narcissism and malignant narcissism is sadism.
Ah,
Yep, that is the defining trait that makes a narcissist malignant.
but I think power is an aphrodisiac.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, power and wealth.
That's why when I was 7, but there's a difference between me being 17 years old and banging the supervisor at Domino's, and this hoe banging the prime minister.
You've just reminded me of a scene from. No, it's gone. What the scene was from, I don't know. But it was talking about Margaret Thatcher and finding Margaret Thatcher attractive because of the power.
Oh,
Just
right.
from the power.
Wow, that actually nauseates me.
There is something there. There are definitely people that are purely attracted to two people in power.
Yeah, and he was London mayor at the time.
I mean, at the time he was London mayor as well. He had the press in his hands.
Oh yeah,
he had his buffoonery. His public image was fantastic.
Well, that explains how he ended up prime minister.
Because of the Olympics as well.
Yeah.
Which gave him added gravitas.
That he didn't organise.
No, but he didn't stop him taking credit for it.
No, of course he didn't stop him taking credit. He's very good at taking credit.
And apparently taking pussy.
The article goes on. The businesswoman, who is 21 years younger, says they slept together at the flat where she had a pole dancer's pole. She says they met up once a week at the height of the affair. She sent arty topless pictures and admits, I loved him, I adored him.
That's not an affair, that's a sugar daddy. That's what they call a sugar daddy over here. You give me the booty, I give you the money. That's a sugar daddy. Oh man. Oh, this is worse than I thought.
Yes. Yeah, we have that term here as well. Sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy. It's a goddamn sugar daddy.
Jennifer reveals a mutual physical and intellectual attraction. They shared a love of Shakespeare. She codenamed him Alexander the Great and says he loved her body and mind and couldn't keep his hands off me on their first tryst. But ultimately, she says, he was a cowardly wet noodle for not standing by her in a row over her presence on foreign trade trips.
Yeah, I bet there was a cowardly wet noodle between his legs. Come on, we're talking about an affair here. There's got to be some dick jokes peppered in there. Come on. I saw the door open and I crashed through like the motherfucking Kool-Aid man.
Jennifer says her romance with Prime Minister Boris, who was mayor of London at the time, lasted from 2012 to 2016. It was his second term in office, and he was married to now ex-wife Marina, mother of their 4 children.
Oh my God, he is just, ooh. There's some words for him that I could use here. If you have a whole ass family, you want to go wreck that. There is something deficient in your soul, man.
Yeah. But
not that
I think it was good for her business.
It sure was. Because it gets worse. because there's a
Because of course it does.
There's a conflict of interest going on here as well. We're going to get to the real nub of the story now.
This is the real dick in the ass. I've been excited for this part.
Yeah. This is from the Daily Record. Calls for Boris Johnson to explain himself over £126,000 award to Jennifer Arcuri. Ms. Arcuri said she didn't fully understand the rules around the trips, and she now believes Boris should have declared the friendship. See, this is the conflict of interest.
Yeah, I'm sure now she believes that when it's convenient for her. He did this little hoe dirty. I guarantee she was pregnant and she had to pay for her own abortion.
Whoa. We can't. Allegedly.
Speculate, but like this is the kind of shit, like, if this went on for this long, and you know, the affair ended in what, 2016? We're now in 2021. First of all, I don't think it actually ended in 2016 with this long going by.
Okay.
He must have really done her dirty that she's coming out with all this.
Well, this is just speculation, but calls are mounting for Boris Johnson to explain himself over his relationship with businesswoman Jennifer Arcuri, who was awarded £126,000 of taxpayer cash after her bombshell revelations of their 4-year affair. The Prime Minister had a relationship with Arcuri between 2012 and 2016 when he was Mayor of London, and she was allowed on 3 taxpayer-funded trade missions he led. So this is where the conflict of interest comes in, you see. He needs to answer some serious questions about this.
He's just going to turn around and say it was only a couple 100,000.
Yeah, a couple 100,000. Okay, Boris. All right, whatever you say, buddy.
And there's also an article from the Daily Mail. Let's share this one. Tories used party funds to cover Boris Johnson's legal bills over Jennifer Arcuri affair. Massive photo of her there.
You see, part of me doesn't have a problem with that. It's a PR issue.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
we've got scientist Mel back. Let's just. There you go.
Hello.
Hi, you're back with us.
My internet went out randomly.
Oh dear.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the party.
Thank you.
We're talking about the whole Jennifer Arcuri affair here.
I don't know anything about it, so what's going on?
Would you shag Boris Johnson?
What is it going on is a better question.
Well,
I fucking dropped this in my DMs and I read down like, oh my God, if we don't talk about this, I'm going to kill him. This is insane.
Well, basically, Boris Johnson had an affair with a businesswoman called Jennifer Arcuri, and while he was mayor of London, and he paid her company. How much was it? A lot of money anyway.
£170,000.
£126,000. Yep.
And this is obviously a conflict of interests, and the Daily Mail has come out with this story that the Conservative Party, they used funds to cover Boris Johnson's legal bills over this affair. Tory chiefs used party funds to pay Boris Johnson's legal bills, it emerged. Party co-chairman is said to have approved payments to the Prime Minister's lawyers. The cash was handed over weeks after Mr. Johnson entered number 10 in July 2019. So, yeah, party co-chairman Ben Elliott is said to have approved payments of more than £10,000 to the Prime Minister's lawyers.
Hmm.
Well, at least that's not as bad as what he dropped on his hoe.
Yeah, it
Let's
says
Man.
find the silver lining.
Would you
How much-
sleep with Boris Johnson to get money? That's the question.
How much did it cost Trump?
$100,000, I thought.
but the
Something
article
like that.
the article goes on. He was at the time facing police watchdog inquiries over whether, as London mayor, he had any influence over the payment of £126,000 of public funds to Miss Curie. The Independent Office for Police Conduct cleared him last year.
I wonder why.
But they cleared him last year, but now she has admitted that they did in fact have a love affair. So now this is why the story.
He did in fact have sexual relations with that woman.
Was a cigar involved?
Well, now that I made that joke, I swear to God, every American who is in the chat right now, I don't ever want to hear one goddamn thing about Bill Clinton ever the fuck again. Big whoop, he got a blowjob.
Do you know?
You know,
Do you know who
So-
Boris Johnson's idol is?
Donald Trump.
No,
I didn't think he'd go that low.
Churchill.
Who?
Churchill.
Oh, Winston
He
Churchill.
wants to be Winston Churchill.
I
can see Boris Johnson with the cigar.
Ah. Oh my
dear.
God. I just he's okay. I'm not a huge fan of Churchill, but even Boris, that's out of his league. Like well out of his league. The man can't even brush his hair. So
No, he can. He does it intentionally. Did you not know this?
is he trying to look like the working man? This is
He's
how
trying to
the
look
plebs and the
He's
peasants wear
trying
their
to
hair.
look like a bit of a buffoon, right?
Yes, exactly.
And he does it. We have every reporter that has interviewed him for TV. He goes in with immaculate hair, and he gets there, and then he rubs his hair to mess it up so it's freshly scuffled. It is an image he is trying to portray
yeah,
Why?
because that's what won him the election.
yes,
Because he's
The
an
lovable
idiot?
buffoon. The buffoon.
yeah.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Oh, we've
Ew.
lost Sci Niece.
I tell you, it's some
Look at
kind
that.
of weird. I have had a case of the technology gremlins or the technology gnomes. I'm just saying.
You
Sorry.
brought them-
Go out.
Churchill did screw around as well, did he not? Asks Never Again.
I don't know. I don't keep up with his sex life. I don't.
I don't know,
I would
actually.
not sleep with Boris Johnson for money. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't.
Would you sleep with Churchill for money
No.
when he was
No.
alive?
No. There's just some ick you can't wash off. You know what I mean? There's no amount of money that can pay for a solid, thorough cleansing after
I don't
sleeping with
believe you.
Boris Johnson.
The problem is, it's what I see in myself. See, I think there is no one I wouldn't sleep with for the right amount of money.
My
I would
mom asked me about Bill Clinton when
Yeah.
when I was younger. My mom was like, "Would you sleep with Bill Clinton? You know, he's pretty handsome." And I'm like, "No."
What could you do with $100 billion?
I'd not sleep because number one, I would not believe if somebody came up and said, "I'll give you $100 billion if you
No,
sleep
I
with
wouldn't
me."
believe them either. But
I'm like,
assuming
yeah,
you
no.
could verify it, they gave it to you beforehand.
Then I would think it was dirty money and they were laundering it somehow through me. I'm like,
Does that matter? You could still
Yes,
do
it does
so much
matter.
good with it.
I can't
I'd
do
be
it, man.
suspicious, but like my problems would be solved. All of my problems would be solved. I would legit be able to pack up and get the hell out of this dirty ass city I live in, and
I
just
don't know.
take my kid and live on an island.
Would I be able to live with myself afterwards? I'm not sure.
Oh God.
Just think what good you could do.
No, not. No,
See,
I would probably never eat again, so I'd probably die because I'd want to puke every time I thought about it.
but then, on the other hand, it's easy for me to sit here and academically say, "Oh, I wouldn't have sex with Donald Trump for $100 million." But I don't know. I honestly don't know.
If by having sex I was working as a CIA operative and had orders or something, and he was just gonna disappear afterwards, then if that's part of the job, that's part of the job. But I'm just like, outright, no.
Yeah.
Dave draws the line, and if would you sleep with Churchill if he was alive? Let's go hang out at the cemetery, Dave. Let's go find him. Sleep with this corpse. Would you sleep with a corpse for $100 billion?
It's got to be a skeleton.
Says.
It's got to be. Money washes off most bad decisions. Everyone has a price.
I want to know if Dave would sleep with a dead person for the $300 billion, because now we're getting into consent issues.
Probably.
It's got to be a skeleton by now, surely.
Oh no, a skeleton is a bit harder, but you're basically.
Well, you get they still have like fingers, don't they? Like bones.
I can't. There's very little I wouldn't do for $300 billion.
Oh God.
I think for me, half of the money, half of it at least, would have to go directly into my account before we did anything.
Yes, I think that I've got to assume. Okay, I am assuming that the offer is valid, and I will receive the money. In agreeing to anything.
Indecent proposal, and that's a whole new film, isn't it? Indecent proposal.
There are some things I definitely would not do, even for that kind of money.
There are things I wouldn't do,
like anything to do with my ex-husband.
Anyway,
you wouldn't do your ex-husband for $300 million and maybe him being killed off at the end of it.
I would not.
Anyway,
this is slightly sidetracked.
And here comes my boyfriend. Oh yeah, you wouldn't do him, and then he gets to die at the end. Did you be rich?
Gets to die
anyway, this isn't critical questions.
Off the rails here.
Well, we were trying to establish why people want to sleep with Boris Johnson.
Yes.
It is relevant to the point.
I shouldn't have raised that question. That was stupid of me.
Anyway, moving on. This isn't critical questions. This is on the sofa.
You can do things on a sofa.
Oh my God! I was gonna say that. God damn it!
This is the black sofa, casting couch edition.
Oh man!
Oh God!
It's a lot more obvious what you did if you don't clean up well enough.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Get a black light on that sofa, man. I wonder.
What the fuck you need a black light for? Cum is white.
Yeah, but if you clean it up, even if you clean it up, you still leave a lot of it left over, like the DNA and stuff. So that if it's fluorescent and you run a black light over it, I bet his sofa looks like a Jackson Pollock painting. Just
oh Jesus Christ!
Oh God! You took it there. Yeah. Trust you, scientist Mel, to lower the tone. Honestly.
So, for what sort of show is this? It's pure smut.
That's it, Mel. That's it. You're not allowed on here anymore. Bad Mel.
Oh well.
Bad.
Anyway,
I talked about science. It's fluorescent, so you can run a black light and it shows up.
Yeah,
know,
let's,
these excuses are getting thinner and thinner
let's-
and flimsier and flimsier, man.
I think you've lost control, Mike.
I think I have. Let's move on to another kind of shagging. Flag shagging.
What?
Oh,
People are having
Flag
sex with flags?
no, they're trying. Well,
Oh,
they're trying to do what you've done. They're trying to get people excited about the flag over here. The flag was meaningless over here.
Oh,
Your flag worship is fucked up.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is.
Let me just play this. Oh, can
Can't
you hear
hear
that?
it.
No,
Oh,
You got to share the screen, with the sound.
I did. I'm sure I did. And let's try again. Let's try again. I'll stop and start again. So
Okay.
share
So-
screen.
Dave, while we're waiting, I have to let you know the memory in my computer was bad, and that's why all that was happening.
oh, fantastic! Well, not fantastic.
Oh, Jesus.
Does that mean it's fixed?
Here we go.
Last year, 268 pages. Do you know how many Union flags featured in any of the graphics in those glossy pages?
What?
Of all the briefings that I got for this meeting, that was not one of them, I'm
I
afraid.
think Mr. Wild
Would you
will
care
help.
to take a guess?
I have no idea.
Well, it's 0. Do you find that surprising?
No. I mean,
Oh my God.
I think that's a strange metric. I have to say, one of the things I looked at when I came into the building this morning was a Union Jack flying proudly on Broadcasting House, which it does.
Did I
on
seriously
many,
have a
many,
conversation
many days of
about
the year.
this?
Yeah.
I have travelled around the world championing the UK. I sit on the private sector council for the
Why
Great
didn't we
Campaign.
see the flag,
I
though?
don't think there's any problem with the BBC in terms of championing the UK and Britain abroad. We're incredibly proud of it. And if you do wander up Regent Street today, then have a look at the Union Jack flying proudly on top of the BBC.
Always good to see the Union Jack flying. I was thinking a report of 268 pages about the BBC. The British
I would be
Broadcasting
so
Corporation.
mad if I had to
Well,
sit through a
it's
meeting like
expect to
this.
see probably more than one flag appearing. But
I just don't see it,
And the
I
great-
just don't see it as a metric.
Okay, well, you may not, but
Irrelevant.
maybe. And the great campaign you mentioned, I think the Union
Scientists
Jack
know.
pretty prominently.
You talk about
In the
science,
report,
but you don't
the
have the
government
science
used it across the
flag.
UK. Again, how
So
many
we need to have a
images were
conversation
of
about
Union
you
Jack
not
on that?
having the science flag.
But
Oh
I could hazard a guess based on where the question is going, but I haven't looked.
Yeah, again, it was none. So maybe in the annual report for this year, perhaps you could include some imagery around the Union flag.
Oh my God. There was an actual meeting about this.
Yeah.
You didn't have, y'all are turning into Fox News. You don't want to do that.
Well, that's. I don't have words. I'm so sad.
There is a science flag. There's not. Maybe I should have a science flag so somebody can yell at me for not flying it or showing it in my videos.
Yeah.
There's the atom one.
Maybe I could I could probably make a flag. Do we want to start having a science flag? It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
You didn't put the Union Jack. Nobody
problem
knows you're
is-
British.
The problem is not that. The problem is we don't worship our flag because we have a queen. Well, worship is the wrong word, but we swear when we swear a loyalty, or all our oaths
God save the Queen. Yeah.
are all to the queen.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So we don't try and represent our country by the flag, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's not used, it's not relevant. It bears no relevance to anyone's life.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. I don't have an American flag outside my house, but people on my street do, right next to their Trump ones. I think my neighbor finally took down his Trump flag. I think he realized that the election is over.
Progress.
In April.
So yeah, the Tories are serious about flag shagging, at the moment. It's
They
terrible.
really are turning into Republicans.
Have you got a picture of the new briefing room, Mike?
No, I haven't.
Hmm.
But here's another flag shagger, Matt Hancock.
What penis?
Yes, Matt Penis.
Matt put penis.
Matt Hand on Cock.
Yeah.
Matt Hancock.
Masturbate. He's a master debater.
Right, so we should waste health service
Masturbate
money.
with the Hancock.
Yeah.
We should waste health service money maintaining a fucking flagpole and flag.
But
Y'all
Yes.
really are trying to be American. There's some rules and laws and shit all around the fucking flag here.
Yeah, we have rules,
Hmm.
but they don't say anyone really has to fly it apart from on royal properties and shit like that.
I mean, they can afford to get a nice fancy flag and a flagpole and pay people to put it out there and take it down, but they can't give them like, PPE and stuff that would save their life.
And we've been
Hashtag
paying them for the
priorities.
last 12 months with claps.
That's
But,
right.
Yeah.
Those that clapping. Thank you, NHS. I hope you don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get the Rona. Cough this
Heroes
way.
work here.
Health Secretary Matt Hancock is
Stay
enthusiastic
alert.
supporter. Shush. Of calls for the Union flag to fly at all NHS hospitals, the Sunday Express has learned. Fans of the flag were delighted last week when Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden announced it would fly from government buildings every day. A new push is underway for it to be flown on hospitals, health centres, railway stations, and police stations and other public buildings. The Health Secretary has privately expressed his enthusiastic support for flying the flag at NHS locations.
Right, there's one good thing about this. There's one good thing about all of this. Okay? Which is they sold off the fucking railways. They sold off the physical hospitals.
Yeah.
Right? So they can't force them to fly the fucking flag because they don't control them.
Oh my God. What is the, it's just,
So we're sleepwalking into a fascist state.
Yes.
What I want to see, and I've actually been to a protest in London when you guys first voted to leave the EU. I landed the day that vote came out, and during my stay, I actually went to the march that they had going all the way down to Parliament. That was a heck of a fun thing to do. You guys know how to protest. So what I would like to see is a whole bunch of people with the freaking Union Jacks streaking all the way down the streets of Parliament. I'm going to fly your flag. Why don't y'all protest that way? That'd be awesome.
What do you reckon we change our flag? We'll have to when Scotland leaves anyway.
Yeah, that's a point. But talking of protests, that leads us nicely to our next Tory twat, who is protesting about milk.
What?
Milk?
Yeah. Let me just share the article with you.
I'm going to protest milk.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Tory MP Sir Charles Walker carries pint of milk in bizarre protest at COVID restrictions.
All right, I need to know what the hell purpose that's going to serve. That's the most random thing that's random as fuck.
Yeah.
Words fail me.
For the next few days, I'm going to walk around London with a pint of milk on my person because that pint will represent my protest.
Uh-huh.
And what is milk going to represent in a protest exactly? Can someone explain that to me?
The oppression of white people.
Real.
Because they're white as milk, right? In the oppression, and it's in a container. So it's the oppression of the white men with this coronavirus lockdown. That's what this is.
Yes. But it's symbolic, apparently.
Of what?
So Charles Walker, MP for Broxbourne, was one of the 35 Conservative backbenchers who rebelled against the extension of coronavirus laws for a further 6 months. Prior to the vote, Sir Walker made a bizarre pledge to protest about the price of milk, and he told the Commons he would spend the next few days walking around London with a pint of milk on my person, because that pint will represent my protests.
Oh my God.
He said, as sure as eggs are eggs, we will be back here in 6 months at the end of September, being asked to renew this legislation again. It is inevitable, and anyone who thinks it is not inevitable is deluding themselves. But it's
makes me so angry, given that we have stats. We know we have the way we are monitoring the virus. It will become obvious if they are extending the regulations beyond what is sane. But the public don't understand that. But the MPs do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if at least if he was around me, I'd be like, wow, you got some milk for my tea. Thank you. You know how expensive this is?
I would just dump the damn milk on his head, because that's the stupidest fucking protest I ever heard. Walking around with milk. Here.
Milk is so expensive.
Not like stupid of your argument.
Yeah.
I hope it rots really quickly if he walks around and then he starts stinking. And people will be like...
yeah, with how hot it's been lately. I mean, I don't know if it's been hot over on that side of the fucking pond, but... yeah, you pour it on his head, it'll like leach into him, and it'll get hot, and it'll reek, and then it'll just be it'll be like a big neon sign pointing at his head. I'm an idiot with an idiotic idea to protest something that's honestly perfectly reasonable when we're in a whole ass pandemic.
And it's not a half-ass pandemic; it's whole ass.
It is a whole ass pandemic.
The worst thing is, we tried being reasonable.
I mean,
we tried.
How'd that go over?
It didn't. That's the problem. Not enough people followed the basic, simple instructions. Otherwise, we didn't need a lockdown. At the end of the day, lockdowns weren't required. 6
feet away from other people.
Yeah.
You know, it's such little stupid, simple shit.
Yeah.
Do you remember this character, Dave?
Milky.
Yes. That's who I'm reminded of.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on.
I'm sorry to you guys in the UK. We are a terrible influence, and I apologize for the Americans.
Mike, we're meant to take the piss out of American politics. It makes us feel better.
We're going to in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Milky.
Milky.
Interested in milk? I am. Old milk is my hobby.
On chalkboard. Shoot me already.
Milk has a very long and distinguished history.
Anyway, I better not play all of that because I don't want to get copyright.
Yeah.
Copyright
Milky.
It's fair use.
Yeah, but that's who he reminded me of. But,
yeah.
But anyway, it's funny that Dave should say, to mention America, because we're going to go over to America now.
Here we go.
We can get flights.
America. Fuck yeah.
America.
Coming again to save
Red.
Team America World Police. Go watch that. It's so relevant now.
No, thank you. I prefer not to have PTSD flashbacks.
I think what Americans think of that film pretty much sums up where they sit.
Freedom isn't free. takes folks like you and me. It's a $1.05. That film is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Because it's true. A lot of it is true.
Yeah. And so we're going to start our new section, our brand new section called Ridiculous Republicans.
I love that you used. I just noticed that you put Trump baby in there, and I fucking love it. Like you have no idea how much that just like made my entire life. I knew when I sent you the audio clip, like, hey, why don't we need to make up something when we have perfectly good circus music on YouTube?
Yeah. But do you want to lead this story?
If I knew how to pronounce the motherfuckers. All right. So this motherfucker, who Matt Gaetz, is under investigation for possibly fucking a teenager.
I believe it.
Anybody surprised? Anyone? Show hands.
Is this the one that asked the reporter and said like you were there?
Yes. And then, but after that interview, the reporter threw him under the bus. Yeah, saying that was the most bizarre interview he's ever had.
Well, under the bus is the only proper place for Republicans anyway. But that's just my opinion. We all know I hate Republicans. So
he's just gross. I mean,
the Justice Department is finally doing its job the way it was meant to. The Justice Department is investigating Representative Matt Gaetz for possible sexual relations with a 17-year-old girl. 3 people briefed on the matter told the New York Times on Tuesday. The staunch conservative and Donald Trump ally, that's why he's fucking teenage girls, because Trump used to walk into dressing rooms full of naked teenage girls. You know what? That's where he learned it from. That's it. Is also under investigation for possibly paying for her to travel with him across state lines, which would violate federal sex trafficking laws because of her age. Yeah, that's a lot of things that a lot of stupid teenagers don't realize. If you're in a state where the age of consent is 18 and you're like 18 dating a 16-year-old and you go over the bridge to another state where the age of consent is 16 so you can fuck her, you just broke federal law. According to the Times sources, the DOJ launched its investigation in the final months of the Trump presidency. Wow, that actually shocks me. Weren't they his little bodyguards? Gaetz, he's 38 and he's fucking a 17-year-old. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go throw up now. Told the Times that the DOJ informed his legal team that he was the subject of the probe, but not the target.
Oh my God, he's just gross. He's just gross. Oh Lord. I wonder if he's gonna when he finally if they come out with evidence and he's found guilty, blah 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 and all that, I wonder if he's gonna go the route of crying on camera and asking for forgiveness. You know, I wonder if that's because that tends to be the bill sometimes with the right-wing heavy conservatives, particularly with evangelists whenever they're caught with a hooker or something like that. Oh my
God, I know. That's the kind of hypocrisy I love to watch unfold, and it's like, haha, karmic
Billy Graham, man. Billy Graham and Jimmy Swaggart going there, I have sinned against you, my fellow Christians. And he's just crying. I don't deserve your love and forgiveness. And you're just like, oh my God. And they just are like, oh, it's okay.
It's like,
you
really
said you're sorry.
It's disgusting. Yeah. If you bang the Bible loud enough, you can get away with anything. My ex-husband got away with beating me because he Bible banged in court.
But I think Matt Gaetz is probably, if he gets stuck where there's just too much evidence, he's probably going to come out and sit there and apologize. And he'll probably, if he doesn't go to jail, he'll probably go to sex rehab or something and be like, I have a problem.
He's not going to go to jail or anything because he has the correct letter next to his name.
Oh, R.
You can get away with anything as long as you're a Republican these days.
Just about.
Trump was a prime example of that. I mean, it was disgusting the way Trump got away with. Like, I fully believe. I was saying this to Mike yesterday. I fully believe that when Trump said I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote, I honestly believe that was 100% true.
Yeah, it was, because his supporters are that out there. And he said the things that they want to hear. They want to be able to go and shoot somebody in the face. A guy I worked with at a high school, I promise you he's a Trump supporter. At the time, Trump had not been elected yet. But he wanted to be able to bring guns into the high school. And he's like, if I were able to bring my gun here, there wouldn't be a high school shooting. I'm like, all you got to do is get shot, and then they're going to take your gun. The man was huge. He had to be pushing 400 pounds and was about 6'5". Okay. He's a huge target to hit. Okay.
Well, wait. The real question of whether or not he'd end up shot with his gun confiscated, unfortunately, in our society, I have to ask the question of what color his skin was.
Oh, he's a white guy, but when you're dealing with
he'd get away with it. They take him to Burger King on the way to jail like they did with Dylan Roof.
Well, what I'm saying is if we had an in-school shooter that was a kid coming in shooting people, and he pulls out his gun, he's a huge target for a teenager to hit. The teen would take his gun and kill everybody, or whoever, whether it's a teen or if it's some other weirdo or some angry white dude. It didn't matter. But when I was standing in the hallway, I had to report him. And because I was standing in the hallway and we had a diverse group of kids in the school of all kinds of different cultural backgrounds. And in that school, the white kids were poor and the black kids had money because this is a farm area. And if you're black out here, you got some money. The white kids were working on the farms and living in shacks. So it was like flipped on the poverty. So he's standing there and he's talking about, well, downtown has this black on black crime. And if they would just let me go down there with my gun, I would solve that problem. He's saying this in the middle of a high school hallway with a whole bunch of diverse students. And I'm standing there going, oh my God, you just said you want to murder a bunch of black people in a high school. I had to report him. And then I quit hanging out in the hallway talking to him. I'm like, I can't be around that. So I'm like, bye.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like,
he still works there. He still has a job.
That's insane. I can't believe, it's an insane fallacy about the whole good guys with guns stop bad guys with guns. No, the would-be good guys with guns end up turning into the bad guys with guns because something goes wrong in their heads and they snap or some shit.
Yeah.
It's not an accurate statement to say that a good guy with a gun will stop a bad guy with a gun.
But anyway, this story, this Matt Gaetz story gets bizarre because he tweeted this. He said, over the past several weeks, my family and I have been victims of an organized criminal extortion involving a former DOJ official.
Oh my God, he's crying witch hunt. He is a little baby Trump.
Seeking $25 million while threatening to smear my name. We have been cooperating with federal authorities in this matter.
What do you want to bet that's not real?
But
or
just the
he's made it up.
won't come out and say it's not because it's not their place to.
Right.
He told Tucker Carlson on Tuesday that the person's name is David McGee. David McGee served 6 years as the first assistant U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Florida. Oh, I've just got a new subscriber.
Yay.
Served 6. Oh, hang on. The lawyer led the fight to jail F. Lee Bailey, a longtime criminal defense attorney who helped acquit physician Sam Shepard and O.J. Simpson, both of whom were accused of killing their spouses.
Okay.
So this is a bizarre story.
It is, and no lawyer would allow Matt Gaetz to come out and say all the stuff. Even my father was wearing a wire, and that there was a leak that tried to thwart the FBI investigation. That wouldn't happen. The FBI would be like, you cannot say anything or it's going to ruin our investigation. I think it's not real, or this is smoke and mirrors, something that he's made up. Oh, yeah. We're wearing wires now to catch these criminals. We're being extorted. I think he's probably fabricated the whole thing.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you're right. And this story is just going to go, keep going. I think we're going to get some more revelations as time goes on.
Can I just say something really quickly?
Yeah.
When I was younger and Britney Spears had her breakdown and she shaved her head and bashed the car window with a baseball bat, I totally get it now. Totally get it. With everything that's gone on in the U.S.
I think we all get it now, honestly.
I'm like, I'm about there. I'm ready to shave my head, go to a car and bash like my neighbors, my Trump supporting neighbors that act like trash. I'm ready. Let me go, and I'm not actually going to do it, guys. But I understand in case something happens to them, that was not me. I'm not actually going to do it. I'm joking with that. But I totally get why Britney Spears did that. I get it now.
I wouldn't mind seeing you with a shaved head, to be honest.
I don't know that anybody wants to see that.
I'd pay to see it.
If I'm going to shave my head, the eyebrows are going to go too, so I can just look like an android. I
was thinking of cutting off all my hair again. I haven't decided.
But actually, I quite like women with shaved heads. I'm not sure why, but I do. I really do.
Oh,
shaved heads or the pixie cut?
Yes.
Yes is not an answer.
He likes both. I bet you were totally into with the Star Trek film Vija. That's what did it for you, right? The first Star Trek movie, the bald lady that's pretty.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to fix this audio issue. 1 second.
Okay. I thought she was going to say she was going to try and fix her hair then.
She's going to go shave her head. Come back for you, black sofa.
The ball. Yeah, the shaved head. And the pixie look, definitely both. But anyway, moving swiftly on. Actually, I think we'll crack on. Oh yeah, Sci Niece, we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene next.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. My phone started doing that thing that it does where it starts playing out of where I put my ear up to if I'm talking on the phone instead of out the speaker. So what do we got next?
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, yeah, she opened her mouth again.
Let's see what she's got to say.
If you two don't shut the hell up, I will put you on a rotisserie. Sorry, our cockatiel thing.
When it is offered to you.
Oh.
So, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Of the beast.
Oh, God.
Is this something like Biden's mark of the beast? Oh, if you're going to come into the football game or the
she's the goddess of all Karens.
Concert, you need your vaccine passport because we're trying to do a good job to keep everyone safe. This is what the Biden administration is trying to talk to these private companies into doing. Well, let's analyze that. You see, it's still the same thing. It's still fascism or communism, whatever you want to call it.
It's not this. Those are not the same. It's fascism or communism. You can call it either one.
That's not how this works.
Communism. These are private corporations who thrive on capitalism and have,
it's not communism.
Marketplace here in America have become successful and are doing well, selling their goods, selling their services, selling their products. But yet they are adapting these communist policies just like the Democrats are, and they are pushing them on us through their
They don't know the difference between communism and socialism.
They don't.
They have no clue.
They don't know anything. They have no brain cells.
It's like, read a freaking book. Can you read a book? Can you read?
Apparently, the literacy rate is quite low.
Very irresponsible. People need to get vaccinated, and it's the private. Hold on. It is the private sector that wants to make sure that people coming into their venues are vaccinated, so that their patrons can be safe from COVID-19. It is time for conservatives in this country to acknowledge we have a crisis and start joining the fight to end it and stop spreading lies.
Oops. I didn't mean to do that. But, the
COVID-19 vaccine has been approved.
So this Marjorie Taylor Greene.
How exactly did I put it when I threw it in that Google Doc we have there, Mike? Oh, look, Marjorie Taylor Greene opened her mouth again.
Yes.
It's going to be like a non-news event every time she comes out with something stupid. At this point, we might as well be fucking the Trevor Noahs of YouTube going on about her.
I wonder if we can email her like fake conspiracy theories and see if we can come up with like a letterhead, like a fake letterhead of an organization, and come up with a conspiracy theory about crocodiles. And see if she would like come up and I kind of want to do that.
Can we actually like all like form a group chat and like make a little plot to fuck with her? Like
we could just start sending fake conspiracy theories and say we really need your help with this particular issue. We're activists known as.
Have a letterhead? We can send fake letters from QAnon.
Yeah,
maybe.
Funny,
but it would be even more hilarious if we made up a fake activist group about where we met on QAnon, but we've come up with this thing. We just make up conspiracy theories and send them to her, saying we really need your help for legislation for this, and then just use all kinds of sciencey sounding words that are just. Throw them together.
More than one syllable will be sciencey enough for her.
Well, that's it's really interesting. I don't know if you've read Bad Science by Ben Goldacre. I love that book. It's great. And I've also looked up a bit of literature on how it is that people fall for this kind of garbage. What?
Because they're stupid. That's how.
Partly.
And they're gullible.
Partly, but it's how you present the information. If you present yourself as an authority in a thing, and you can explain a thing that makes sense, even though if it's wrong, if you explain it in a way that it makes sense, and you throw in some sciencey sounding words that reinforces this idea that you're an authority, and they'll just listen to whatever you say.
Did you know that all crocodile? Did you know?
There's always an element also of getting on their level and presenting yourself as someone who can relate to them.
Yes.
Did you know that all crocodiles are gay? That they actually
they're all gay. We can just say that the government in the zoos are turning crocodiles gay or turning penguins gay. We can say the zoos, do you know about the gay penguins? That's because it was a liberal agenda to get these penguins to push this, gay agenda, making it okay with humans.
If we're going to actually do this, if we're going to actually fuck with her, and see if we can get her to spew whatever bullshit we put in her mailbox. Maybe we shouldn't discuss this openly on a YouTube stream.
She'll never watch this. She'll think
they won't ever watch this. But see, we can justify it, and we can try this with not only her, with other Republicans, and see how many of them do it. And then we could actually probably publish our findings. And
we have got to get no. I have it.
I can probably publish the findings for science.
I've got it. I know what we have to do. We have to convince her that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer.
She won't believe that.
You know what the worst thing is? You can do this. You can put the conspiracy out there. You can publish a paper showing that you put it out there. They still will believe it. You will not be able to kill it.
I know that's the other ethical issue, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Getting
enough people will take off running with it, and it's like, oh man, I done fucked up.
And they'll never admit that it was wrong because cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
They were like,
the most common thing that the Q-tards usually say once, like there was some date recently that Trump was supposed to march back into office and take back the presidency. And then when it didn't happen, they're all, trust the plan. Like, no, stupids, there is no plan.
Yeah.
You're all idiots who have been duped.
Anyway, we've got one more story from your side of the pond, Sci Niece, before we go on to our feel good story to end with. About the suppression of votes in Georgia.
Oh man, this bullshit. They're getting like draconian, barbaric, and outright inhumane with the kind of voter suppression laws that are being passed in the Deep South Bible Belt area.
Yes,
it was bad enough when I heard a story not too long before the election, actually on election day. There was an incident of somebody in Tennessee being turned away because they were wearing a Black Lives Matter. I forget if it was a mask or a shirt or what.
Mm-hmm.
So that was bad enough. Now Georgia has now made it a misdemeanor to give food or water to voters waiting in line.
What's the logic? What justification do they have for it?
Honestly, whoever masterminded this bill is probably a fucking psychopath who figures, oh, if they're hungry and thirsty and it's illegal to feed or water them, they'll leave the polls and they won't vote. That's what it is.
What I find funny is the Christian response to this. Because they've turned around and said, if there are people out there that need food and water, we're going to give it to them, regardless of what the law says.
Well, that's what Christians would do. But there's Christians and then there's Republican Christians. They are very different.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So there is that to consider there, Dave.
Yeah.
So after Joe Biden narrowly won Georgia and the Democrats won a pair of Senate races, Republican lawmakers there have proposed dozens of measures that would overhaul how Georgia voters cast ballots in future elections. Basically, all that election rigging, before I explain this concept, what's going on here, let me explain a basic concept. When you're dealing with your average narcissist, psychopath, Republican, there's a phenomenon called projection. You know, you're accusing others of something you're doing. The Republicans are out there screaming about how Democrats are doing exactly what they are now openly, brazenly doing. They are engaging in voter suppression in an effort to rig elections because they know if they don't cheat, they can't stay in power.
I know Biden's response, he's trying to get legislation passed holistically across the country, like federal law, to prevent stuff like this from happening.
And that's what a real president should be doing, not on Twitter. Yes, that's exactly how it's illegal to feed the homeless. It's exactly in that vein. It's exactly in that vein of legislation. So, one sweeping election bill. Georgia House Bill 530, is that a 7 or a 1? My screen is very small.
531.
531 would limit the locations of absentee ballot drop boxes, require more identification for absentee voting, and limit weekend early voting. So this is basically making it as hard as possible for people to vote. If they don't suppress the vote, they can't win, and they know it. They're learning that now because voter turnout, I think, was like at a record high in November 2020.
It was.
Because people are finally realizing something that should have been beaten into their heads in 2016, and I'm glad to see people learning a lesson. Staying the fuck home and not voting only serves to do harm.
I really wish they would make it required to vote.
I don't know if I necessarily believe in all that. I don't know for sure if I think mandatory voting is a good idea, but there definitely needs to be more effort to educate the public. The only way to preserve our rights, these are things my grandmother beat into her kids' heads and that my mom went on to beat into mine. The only way to preserve your rights is to exercise them. And Georgians need to hopefully learn from this. I mean, that's the thing. The reason that now the right to vote is being suppressed, they're trying to suppress this bill in Georgia, is because people were exercising their rights. They have to keep exercising their rights in order to preserve them. I was always raised with the philosophy, though, that voting is more than just a right. If you're not happy with what your elected officials are doing with their position of power, it is your responsibility to vote them out. But and people are learning that now, and the Republicans are panicking at this point. And they're trying to suppress voters as much as they can. Facebook post said the state legislation makes it a misdemeanor to give food or water to voters waiting in line. The Facebook post was flagged as part of Facebook's efforts to combat false news and misinformation on its news feed. In this case, the post is accurate. Now, that's actually a symptom of another problem that's a whole other stream coming. Facebook seems to be more likely to flag information that is anti-conservative as false. So I'm not shocked there. A state bill would expressly ban giving food or water to voters in line, which is more explicit than existing law that broadly bans gifts to voters. You can't, and that's the thing, food and water couldn't possibly be construed as a gift. Like, oh, it's hot out. Here, have a bottle of water so you don't drop dead of dehydration. Ooh, the ice cream truck's outside. But this is just becoming barbaric. It's turning voting into a torturous, arduous process to turn people off to the idea. Georgia is one of many states where Republican lawmakers have introduced bills that restrict voting access, despite the fact that Republican election officials said the 2020 election was secure. So what does that tell everybody here?
Well, one of the lawmakers was caught on tape saying that this had nothing to do with voter fraud.
Well, that's the thing. None of this ever had anything to do with voter fraud. It has been widely proven time and time again that that's maybe 0.01% of cases. And most of the caught and publicized instances of fraudulent voting in recent years have been people who voted for Republicans, not Democrats. Again, projection.
Yeah. But I'm not fully au fait with how laws get passed in the United States. But I understood that Georgia is a blue state now. They've got both the senators are Democrats. Is that correct?
That is correct. And because of the fact, I wouldn't call Georgia a blue state for the simple fact that it's in the South. Most people are Republicans, but the metropolitan areas are widely Democratic. The denser the population, honestly, the more likely it is that it's a Democratic area. At least in my experience. But yes, we now, because of the fact that there are now Democrats in Georgia's Senate seats, in the federal Senate, the states are now panicking to make sure that doesn't happen again.
So how was this law passed?
Well, it hasn't. I don't think it. See, the way that it says it would make food giveaways a crime. Now, I know damn right well Kemp will sign this. I know he will, because Kemp's a fucking psychopath, just like the rest of them. He's not as bad as DeSantis in Florida, but he's pretty bad.
It still has to get through the Senate. It hasn't got through the Senate yet.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Let me kind of break it down for you. Basically, it's the same in both states and federal. We have a bicameral legislative branch. In states, it can be called the representatives. It can be called, I know in New Jersey, it's called the Assembly. And then there's the Senate. And then when a bill passes both houses, and it has to be in the same form in both houses, like if there's amendments, for example, the American Rescue Plan, it passed the House, but then the Senate made changes to it, so it had to go back to the House. It has to pass both houses as is, and then it goes to the executive branch, which in a state would be the governor, or federally it would be the president. And president or governor either signs it and it becomes law, or vetoes it. Now there is a way to override vetoes, but that's very rare, at least these days.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's not easy to do it either, but it's part of our system of checks and balances that doesn't actually exist anymore.
All right. Anyway, we're going to move on.
Still would make violating it a misdemeanor that carries a maximum fine of $1,000 and maximum imprisonment of up to 1 year in jail. You know, really, $1,000 fine, possible jail time for giving somebody food and water while they're waiting in line to vote. I realize like there's more to the suppression tactic than just making it illegal, but getting to do that. But it's just, you know, they're trying to make it as unappealing as possible to get your ass into that voting booth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to our feel-good story.
Oh yes, it took me quite a bit to find. I will admit it took me quite a bit to find this one, but this is actually so heartwarming. And there's a puppy. Hang on, I'm about to. Okay, if we're showing pets, oh, Pikachu, come here.
What?
These are the birdies.
Aww.
They are apples. What? Now that the camera's on you, you shut the fuck up? Is that how this works? You're both dicks, and I'm going to put you on a rotisserie. So, a 57-year-old woman, 57, has successfully given birth to a healthy baby boy. I had to go with that one. Everybody loves babies. I know I do.
3 hours to have the baby? That's it?
Yeah, really. I'm jealous. I was in labor for 9.5.
Oh my God.
And she was doing CrossFit the day she was told she would have to be induced. And then she delivered her son in about 3 hours.
Wow.
Oh my God.
God, I just want to cuddle the baby, the little baby cheese.
How many kids does she already have? That's also a question.
I don't remember saying she actually had any kids. I mean, if you're pushing out a baby at that age, I feel like you didn't have any and you always wanted them.
I don't know.
Yeah,
this is her third child.
Oh, wow. How old are the
So
other?
if you've had babies before, it's a bit easier.
Yeah, but at 57, you're normally well past postmenopausal. I believe the average age a woman enters menopause is 51. My mom went into it at 33, but that's like a rare exception.
Huh. Man, I want the change to hit me. I'm so tired of my monthly visitor. It's annoying.
Me the fuck too, yo.
Can I please have the menopause?
I used to have. Oh my god, I used to have to pop tramadols to stop the cramps. But anyway, there's men here. They don't want to hear about our period problems.
Well, I'm just saying, I would like to have that, have it gone.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still hormonal changes that would, it wouldn't be pleasant.
Yeah, it wouldn't be pleasant. It wouldn't be pleasant at all. I say that until it happens to me, and then I'll probably be a raging terror.
Yeah. Fucking hot flashes! Oh my god!
What makes you think you're not a raging terror?
It depends on who you ask, really. I'm a supervillain to some.
She's a raging terror. I don't think she's a raging terror. But that's probably because I'm a raging terror. I don't know how y'all motherfuckers put up with me sometimes. Poor Mike, first day fucking co-hosting with me was probably like, oh my god, what did I sign myself up for?
Oh man. I don't know.
So she's a physical education teacher and a former competitive runner. Went through a long and emotional journey in order to give birth to her third child. And her husband's 65. Jesus Christ. I realize this is supposed to be a feel-good story, but I'm kind of afraid that, is this kid going to, end up with no parents at a young age? But at the same time, the mom's really healthy, so I think she'll live a while. Good for her.
Yeah. I wonder if they had to do in vitro or something, or if she wasn't fertile, or I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know anything about that.
After menopause, I don't think it's even possible to carry and deliver because. And you know what? They lost their daughter to an undiagnosed brain tumor when she was only 13. That is so sad. Holy shit.
So you're going to have a replacement baby. That's sad. The whole thing. That's sad. I'm glad she was able to give birth.
Shortly after Molly's death, Higgins, whose older daughter is now 20, said she began having dreams of having a third child.
Okay.
Yeah. But the connection between Molly's death and Jack's arrival are definitely there, but it was never this obvious, well, Molly died, so I need to have a baby. It was just this dream that I started having. I definitely don't think this was a conscious, I'm going to have a replacement baby thing.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely just a big hole. And you lose your child. I don't even know what I would do. I have a 3-year-old daughter, as we all know. I don't know what I would do. I have no idea what I would do.
Yeah. That's pretty upsetting. I feel bad for her, but I'm happy that she had her baby. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess this is the daughter that died.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The cute little cake. Reminds me of the little smash cakes that you give babies on their first birthday.
I think, speaking of which, I think we should all be allowed to eat food like a toddler at least once a year.
I'm literally sitting here eating leftover birthday cake right now while we're on here.
But no fork, no knives, none of that. Just once a year, have an entire meal where you eat your food like a baby. Because it's really cool to do that.
Dumplings.
It's like
pork dumplings. I can't even lie.
Eat spaghetti with your fingers. Just cram it in. Clean your hands and everything. But they have so much
ABDL territory.
It's like they truly experience their food. They feel it. They taste it.
It's a very sensory experience.
Yeah.
It is a multi. And I'm like, what happened? Why can't we need to go back sometimes and behave like children, if for nothing else, to have that curiosity again, because that's beaten out of us.
You know what you do if you want to do that? They don't allow utensils at medieval times.
I've done that before. You do have a spoon for the soup, though.
Yeah, but otherwise, if you bring utensils, I've actually, I went to medieval times for an old boyfriend's birthday, and people brought utensils, and they put a Okay, you know what, B? Yeah, I bet cream pie smeared all over your face. Ha ha ha. Okay, sex joke over. But
I was thinking apple, and I thought that would be really nice, actually.
I could go for, you know what? If it wouldn't make me look like a deranged murderer, I could do it with cherry pie. I could go for some cherry pie. Ooh, man. Lemon is my favorite, but
kiwi.
Actually, no, key lime pie. And I make the best key lime pie you'll ever eat in your life.
Just scoop it up and just shove it in.
But
I think I might need to do that for the holiday on Sunday. I'm making gumbo and I'm going to make some cake. I call it poke hole cake. It's really good. I think I'm going to make a derivative of that and do chocolate and then fill it with something else.
You're killing me.
And put.
No, it's Easter. I want some fucking lamb, yo.
I'm going to have gumbo and I'm going to have, I'm going to make some rice on the side, some garlic bread. It's going to be like super carby and stuff, but yeah.
I'm glad we can help Never Again. Having our voices help. That's awesome. I hope you feel a little less alone. But let's see. So Higgins, who said her husband was fully supportive of trying for another child, began undergoing a litany of tests, both mental and physical, to see if she could sustain a pregnancy and give birth in her 50s. So it definitely wasn't a quick thing, which is good.
Sorry, I was sneezing.
That's okay. I have sneeze attacks sometimes. It's really bad. It was not a quick process, and that was also reassuring to us. Everything that went well made us think, okay, this is a decision that could work. A former track star at Boston University and current CrossFit athlete, she saw her years of living a healthy lifestyle pay off during the testing process. And yeah, she exercises like her OBGYN said she exercises like someone who's in her 30s, in my opinion. Patients who were exercising before pregnancy can continue to do so safely in pregnancy, and that can result in a more healthy pregnancy with favorable outcomes for mother and baby. So basically, because she's a gym rat, she was able to do this. This kind of like makes me feel horrible about my fat self.
I think it's a bit more than that. There's also genetics and things like that.
Well, of course, but I feel attacked.
It's all right.
No, I'm totally kidding. My day is not complete until I've engaged in some self-deprecating humor. So there she is with her. Oh my God. I don't miss being pregnant, but I miss being pregnant. I don't miss the everything hurting. I don't miss the morning sickness, and I do not miss the labor experience, but I honestly felt pretty good about myself when I was pregnant. Through the rigorous testing required by her doctors, she ran into one obstacle that ultimately saved her life. Oh my God, she had 3 brain tumors? Holy shit, this woman's a fucking trooper.
This person shouldn't be breeding.
No.
She don't quit.
Honestly, we need people like that who don't,
She don't quit, man.
She was able to have successfully removed. I never would have found these tumors. So honestly, this idea of, let's have a baby, even though I'm almost 60, it actually saved her life. I gotta hand it to her. That's actually really cool. I never would have found those tumors, so I wasn't trying to have a child. So I look at Jack sometimes as my little lifesaver. So now we're getting to the good part. How she sustained a pregnancy and successful birth at 57 years old. And she became pregnant with Jack last year at age 56. She was more than 2 decades past the age of 35 that medics consider women to be of advanced maternal age. She found health in her journey from Dr. Vito Cardone, a reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialist in Stoneham, Massachusetts. Tickets for President 2024. Oh my God, B. You're just on one today, aren't you? Unfortunately, a lot of centers have age limits on who they will help for fertility. The doctor says, in my opinion, you need to look at each individual as an individual. You know what? That's true for a lot of things, not just IVF. So you can see that she's the type of woman that trains and in great shape, much better than many of the people who I work with who are 25 or 30 years old.
It was IVF, man. And that's what I thought.
And she knows what she's getting in. Yep, it was IVF. She knows what she's getting into and knows that she really desires a child. But she also acknowledged the uniqueness of the situation and said it's not for everybody at age 57 who I will accept for treatment. So he really did take her on a more individualized basis, which is good. So she became
probably
pregnant.
Kept her. She might have been past menopausal state. She probably was if they did in vitro. And so
she went through IVF, but declined to share further details. Said it's a tender piece. We researched all the different ways and chose the way that worked best for us. But that's going to stay between her and her husband. I actually like that. You know, at my age, I find that the more I share, the more people criticize, and I wouldn't want my experience to scare someone else from being able to take steps to having a baby in their 50s. Well, I think we can agree to disagree on that. So, giving birth later in life is a growing reality in the United States. Since 2007, the birth rate has risen 19% for women in their early 40s, 11% in women in their late 30s, and just 2% for women in their early 30s. Damn, I'm an outlier. I gave birth at 23. Huh. Birth rates for women in their 20s declined from 2015 to 2016, according to the CDC. Well, that's the thing, you know, because everybody tells, get your career, because you can either have a career or a family in our society, which is sick, because, you know, we don't have maternity leave or anything to support new families. So the doctor said he looks not only at a woman's physical and mental health, but also at what the current life expectancy is for women in the United States. Why is someone at my damn door?
Okay. Anyway, we can wrap this up if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, you know, really nice story with us. We'll leave things there, I think. So thanks for everyone who's
yes, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, so I'm struggling to get words out at the moment. I don't know what's happened to me, but
you're too drunk.
Probably, yeah. But thanks to my co-host Sci Niece, and thanks to Dave and scientist Mel for joining us as well. And thanks to everyone in the chat. And
yeah, this has been a hell of a show, just like we said it would be.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say that we're competing with about half a dozen other streams that are happening at the same time. So if you're watching this and you really enjoy the show and you know someone else who would enjoy it as well, then please do share, share this stream with others who you feel would like it.
We're always happy to have more viewers.
Yeah, and then if you're new, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss another show. Okay.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter.
Yes, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and all the other bells and whistles. Okay, bye for now.
Bye.